Very good morning to everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Today, we would be dealing with another aspect related to law and technology. If you go through your syllabus, the unit which we are covering basically deals with the aspects related to law and technology, the pace at which technology is going up, the technology is developing. Legal standards have to be framed in response to that, in reaction to that. Only then we can have a balance and we can promote the development in this sector in a manner which is equitable, which is based on equity, which takes into consideration the interest of everyone. So whether it was the development in cyber field, the information technology developments, or the way we were talking about yesterday about automation, the automated agents we are having, or today's discussion wherein we would be talking about another sector of science which is developing year after year. And again, we have to be aware of the realities. We have to be aware of at how far we are in a position to regulate this emerging sector which we would be talking about today. Today, basically, we would be talking about biotechnology. Like all countries, India faces the reality that today's reality is, like today's global reality is that modern biotechnology, which we would be talking about, is unlocking many advances in healthcare, food and energy security, in the field of environment, particularly environmental conservation. So this development which we are going through, the development that is taking place in the field of biotechnology, we should be clear about the issues and concerns, the challenges which we are facing in the wake of so much development in this sector. What is the scenario at global level? What is the development in India? What are the risks? What is the way out? What role India can play in this sector? What regulatory mechanism we have in India? What changes we want in this regard? We would be talking about all this today in this 1.5 hour interaction. So let me just share my PPT with all of you.
Yes, sir.
Is it visible to everyone?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so just a brief introduction about biotechnology. So let me make it clear that again we have physics, chemistry, and biology in the whole spectrum of science. If physics and chemistry was the guiding force behind the industrial transformation of the 20th century, in that manner, biology is playing a very important role in in changing the developments around us. Biology promises to generate groundbreaking technological applications to the present generation, to the present century. Biotechnology is a very fascinating branch of science. So when we talk about biology, we come down to biotechnology. It is a very fascinating branch of science, combining biology and technology. Biotechnology is a frontline area of science with immense potential for the benefit of the humankind. So whatever we have, whatever discussions or whatever developments that have taken place in biotechnology, in the biotechnology sector, that has immense potential for the benefit of the humankind, that is for the betterment of the society. Biotechnology is generally considered to be any technological application that uses living organisms to make or modify a product, to improve plants or animals, or to develop microorganisms for specific uses. We would be going through examples of this. So basically, we have the integration of biology and technology here. Another technological aspect which is going up. And here we have techniques, here we have the technical applications that uses living organisms to make or modify a product. And here the purpose is to improve plants or animals or to develop microorganisms for specific uses. This sector involves the modification of basic genetic material in living things, namely DNA, which imparts new properties and capabilities in organisms, including plants, animals, and microorganisms, which can be harnessed for a number of useful applications. So one thing which we come down to is when we go through these lines, that biotechnology comprises some certain techniques, certain applications, wherein the improvement is sought, the improvement in the organisms, improvement in the living organisms around us, which includes plants, animals, microorganisms. And again, the basic thing here is that the genetic material which is there, namely the DNA, here the focus is on DNA. So modifying DNA, bringing in changes in DNA, changing the features, changing the traits, is the basic thing which is taken care under this sector. Like all countries, India faces the reality that modern biotechnology is unlocking many advances in healthcare, food and energy security, environmental conservation. And at the same time, these breakthroughs are ushering in host of potential threats, including biological warfare, irreversible alterations to the human gene pool. So the whole picture here is, whatever we would be talking about is, we would be talking about the positive aspects, we would be talking about negative aspects, and coming down to what regulations we have at global level, what kind of global governance we have in this regard, and what all national settings we have in our country. Because the thing here is that it may be very promising. This technology may be very promising, but the complexities which are involved in the application of biotechnology, in the techniques of biotechnology, the thing is, country needs to craft a more streamlined regulatory system and take other concrete steps to support growth in its domestic biotech sector. So we should be clear with that what developments are taking place in this sector. One thing. Second, is it necessary for every country to go for this, to go for development in this sector? or we can neglect the development that is taking place in this sector. We need to be clear with the whole picture. We need to have a proper understanding of what all developments that are taking place, and again, in reaction to that, what all changes have been made by the government worldwide. What are the important international standards? What all international steps have been taken in this regard? And what all national settings have been framed? We should be clear about all this. And again, let me tell you, the way cyberspace is important, the way the regulation of automation is important. Again, the way biotechnology is expanding, the way it is developing, the thing is we need to take this, we have to give a serious consideration to this sector also. So please keep this at the back of your mind. Now the thing is, India, if I share, this is amongst the top 12 biotech destinations in the world, and the rank in Asia is third. And the Indian biotech industry is likely to experience significant growth due to increasing economic prosperity, health consciousness, billion plus population base. Again, we would be coming down to this. So the thing is, we have a huge potential in this regard. Biodiversity wise, we are quite rich, and the way the people are becoming conscious, health conscious. Again, they are now understanding the importance of biotechnology. Gradually, they are understanding. They are adopting this technology. So the thing is that lots of changes are taking place in this sector. Lots of you can say developments are taking place in this in this sector. And the whole thing is that it is opening up new possible applications of biology in range in the variety of areas, in range of different areas, from agriculture to medicine to information technology to warfare. So the thing is, biotechnology is developing, and at the same time it is promoting lots of other developments in different fields. Primarily, we can divide the biotech sector in five major segments. We have biopharma, we have bioservices, we would be going through this. We have bioagri, we have bioindustrial, and we have bioinformatics. So these are the five major segments into which the whole biotech sector can be divided. And together this contributes to the bioeconomy. So when we associate economy, so the thing is that the picture which comes up is that it has a it has lots of commercial viability. It's commercial viable. So lots of commerce is involved. So this is the reason why so much growth is happening in this sector. And again, the way it is developing, the way vaccines are required today. Again, there is a huge potential in this sector, in this industry. So these are the five major segments. And here let me tell you that approximately 60% of the biotechnology industry is devoted to human health applications. If you talk about India, so 60% of the industry, 60% of the sector is devoted to human health applications. All these are biotech products. and related to human health. Then we have a part, a portion, percentage of the industry which is devoted to agricultural biotechnology. So it has huge potential in agricultural sector also. Then we have approximately 30% of the industry is devoted to the industrial applications, bioinformatics, genomics. So these are other segments wherein we have the 30% share of the total biotech industry. So the thing here is it has it offers a potential for advances in fields, in different fields, including healthcare, agriculture, and it is becoming a promising hub for the innovations that are taking place. If we talk about application of biotechnology, we have 5 areas. First, agricultural biotechnology. And here the thing is that the world's food supply, again, the food supply has to be promoted. The way world population is going up, in that ratio, we need to promote the food supply. And scientific advances, the advancements that have taken place in the science, the advancements that have taken place in the biotechnology sector, they have come up with new genes that can fortify crops to withstand natural calamities, pests, diseases. The best example here is the BT cotton which came up, the product of biotechnology sector. Or other example here is the golden rice having high nutritional value. So genes have been discovered. So much advancement has been made that we are coming up with crops which are disease free. We are coming up with crops which are having higher nutritional value. BT cotton, golden rice. So the engineering that is taking place, the genetic engineering that is taking place, the technologies, the genetic engineering technologies, thing is, they are being used to improve the quality and the quantity of the resources that are required for in day-to-day life. Genetic engineering has been used for fish rearing also in aquaculture. Advancements have been made. These kind of advancements, they can be used to improve the quality quantity of the quality quantity of milk, eggs, meat, and the potential here is it can produce healthier, faster growing animals. So this is the application of the biotechnology, or in particular this rDNA technology, where again we bring in the required change in the DNA, which is basically the genetic engineering, the so-called genetic engineering. This is used for agriculture and other related sectors. Second, biotechnology can be used to reduce carbon emissions. So here the whole focus is on environmental conservation. You would have gone through the microbes have been developed oil-based raw materials in the plastic industry are now being replaced with eco-friendly raw materials, like different eco-friendly materials. Different microorganisms have been developed to treat sewage. The chemicals conventionally used for this purpose can be augmented with these beneficial bacteria to control the spread of the pathogenic bacteria. In turn, helping reducing the transmission of different diseases, different waterborne diseases. So these techniques, the techniques which have been developed, the technology which has developed, that is being employed to mitigate environmental hazards, treating waste, how to treat radioactive waste, how to take care of oil spills. So this is being taken care by this sector, by this industry. Thirdly, we have this technique, we have this technology which has led to new ways of treating variety of human diseases. Gene therapy is going up. Alzheimer's disease, they have become successful in dealing with this disease. Then gene therapy is the way they have been developed. They have reversed the anemia, heart failure, heart related diseases. So different diseases have been taken care by the development that has taken place in this sector. Gene sequencing techniques, improving physical capabilities, amplifying intellectual capacities, enhancing emotional well-being, all that has been made possible because of this. The way genetic engineering is taking place, the way this technology is going up. Then we have another sector which we were talking about, which you have seen in the previous slide. We have bioinformatics, genomics that is going up, which is revolutionizing the health sector. Lots of data is being generated, lots of biological data is being generated, and that is being used to study the cause of diseases. Genomics is interdisciplinary field that focuses on the study of genome as a whole. And bioinformatics here is using computer programming and information storage to study biological data. Lots of data is being generated. Lots of companies are there. In India, I can give you example, Map My Genome. That has made possible to test individual connection with certain diseases, and which is trying to make tailored treatments for individual specific needs. Then, apart from this, apart from health sector, apart from agriculture, apart from environmental management, and apart from the data being generated, the thing is, it has industrial application also. The process industries also. The industrial biotechnology employs complete microbial cells or cellular enzymes to generate products for industrial use. It is being used to make biosteel. Genes isolated from a silk spinning spider have been inserted into the genome of a goat egg prior to fertilization to produce a very good quality, a very good silk product. They have been successful in this. This type of transgenic goat, once matures, creates a spider silk based protein through its milk that can be used to manufacture athletic shoes, other products, biorubber using sugar, traditional hydrocarbons, providing reliable and sustainable alternatives to the raw materials, typically which were used in the rubber and plastic industries. So meaning by here is that it has industrial use also. So the way it is developing, it is changing everything. It has resulted to desired traits. What we want, we can come down to that using this technique. IVF, another example. DNA, vaccines, another example. So we have development across areas. Genes are being mixed, genes are matched from different species. And again, efforts are made to protect biodiversity. And again, the countries which are rich in biodiversity, they have lots of potential in this sector. Gene banks are coming up. Genes are being stored. Tissue culture again is going up. So this shows the application. This shows the potential of this sector. This shows the potential. This shows the growth. This shows the development in this sector. Now, coming down to the risks we have in this sector. So, despite the developments that have taken place, despite the growth that has taken place, despite the potential it has, despite the all promises which it provides, there are aspects related. There are aspects of this technique. There are aspects of this technology which are raising profound ethical and political dilemmas, which must be addressed. The thing is, the contention here is that the way things are developing, the way we are using this technique, the way we are applying whatever advances we have that have taken place in this sector, we are interfering with cellular signaling pathways. Intentional gene drives. The focus is to enhance specific traits. We are obsessed with certain traits. We all are obsessed with certain traits. And the thing is, the way things are developing, the way advances are taking place, we are going for those specific traits. And here the challenge here is, the risk here is that would be inherited by the future generation. So this can lead to, if everyone will go for the same set of traits, if we all will go for a particular trait, a particular feature, again the diversity, the genetic diversity would be lost in future. So this is a risk. This is one of the risks which is posed by the development that has taken place in this sector. Biological weapons, again, can be very can be very dangerous. Another risk which we have to keep in mind. Then inequitable global distribution of biotech capacity. We are talking about biotech capacity. We are talking about the advancements that have taken place. But the thing is, whether is it equitable? And let me point out here. Let me be very clear here that there is lots of inequity when it comes to the biotech capacity. Developing countries, least developing countries are far behind than developed countries. Again, in every aspect, industrial aspect and the research and development aspect. There are lots of reasons behind that. Shortage of funds is there, shortage of skilled human capital is there. Academic institutions, there is no connection between the industrial actors and the academic institutions. The way we have the connection, the way we have the nexus between the industry and the academic institutions in developed countries. So these are the few risks which again we have to keep in mind with in the light of which we would be going further. Now coming to the position in India. Another set of data says that again the biopharmaceuticals comprising vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics is the largest biotech subsector in India, and it accounts for more than 60% of the industry total revenue. We have bioservices going up, including clinical research, contract manufacturing 18%, bioagricultural products, hybrid seeds, genetically modified crops, biofertilizers, biopesticides 14%, bioindustry 3%, bioinformatics, dealing primarily with the maintenance of extensive electronic databases 1%. So it holds lot of promise. If we talk about India, it holds lot of promise. But still, let me tell you that India currently accounts for 2% of the global biotech industry. And the reason here is why this is so is that the investor community they have shied away from the early stage biotech ventures. Again, long gestation period. Commercially, if something has to be commercially viable, the gestation period has to be short. And here the gestation period is quite long. So again, before they commercialize the things, before they start earning out of the investment, that period is quite long. And there are other hurdles also which we would be going through. The multi-layered regulatory structures, the delays, the government approvals which are required. So all this is because of all this. Again, in spite of having so much potential, again our share is just 2%. But again, this firms, whatever firms we have, they are making impressive advances in recent years. And again, we have seen the way vaccines were developed, they were manufactured. And again, this is the position in India, the overall picture of the industry in India. Now coming to the biotech policies and regulations, our main concern. The biotech policies and regulations. So here we need to be clear with that what all we have, what all arrangements we have. Because without regulation, the development that is taking place in this sector, again, cannot have a definite or a determined path to follow. How well India taps the potential it has, it would largely depends it would largely depend on how well the decision makers would take it seriously, and they would deal with the regulatory challenges which stem from the structuring of the bureaucratic system. There are lots of misconceptions. There is lots of miscommunication also regarding biotechnology, and again that can be taken care by the proper regulations, that can be taken care by the policies. So the basic thing is a sound regulatory environment is required to flourish domestic biotech sector. And again, let me tell you, it has lots of potential. It is a very important area to be researched, where we can have a research. If we talk about major governmental actors involved in this sector, so there is a fundamental here we need to be clear with that there is a difference in approach. The position in US and the position in India, the model adopted by US, the model adopted by India is different. The model US has, that is a product driven, innovator friendly regime that relies on the measurable performance and safety standards to evaluate genetically engineered products in comparison to ones that are not genetically modified. But when it comes to India, the GM products, the genetically modified products, they attract regulatory attention at the level of the genetic event and undergo case by case biosafety testing. So in India, regulations kick in starting with the process used to introduce a genetic trait into an organism. So right from the starting, we have the regulation. And the multiple regulatory layers which we have, they ensure that in sectors like agricultural biotechnology, approval processes typically take between 3 and 5 years, and sometimes even more than 10 years. So there are lots of regulations that had to be adhered when we go through the model we have in India. Basically, friends, we have the DBT, the Department of Biotechnology under the Ministry of Science and Tech, which was set up in 1986. And this was the brainchild of former PM Rajiv Gandhi ji. His vision was that unless India created a separate department for biotechnology within the Ministry of Science and Tech, the government of the country would not progress to the desired extent. And it was this vision which led to the setting up of Department of Biotechnology in 1986. So this department is considered the main governmental body vested with state authority on matters pertaining to biotechnology. It was set up in 1986, and since then it has been promoting research and development, it has been promoting innovation, overseas funding activities, regulatory responsibilities. supporting universities, supporting research institutes, firms working in the biotech field in different ways. There is one more body here, BIRAC. BIRAC is Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. I repeat, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council, which was set up in 2012 under the Department of Biotechnology, under DBT, and it tries to link the biotech sector and the industrial sector, helping scientists, helping entrepreneurs, commercializing their research, promoting partnership programs, allowing private companies involved in high-risk biotech research to reduce their financial burden, sharing arrangements. Again, it's not possible for every private firm to maintain their lab, so they share their research centers. So all that is taken care by BIRAC, which was established, which was set up in 2012. Apart from this, apart from Department of Biotechnology and the BIRAC, we have certain committees. We have Review Committee on Genetic Manipulation. We have Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. We have rDNA Advisory Committee. We have Institutional Biosafety Committees. So we have lots of committees. Again, the approval of which is required when we go for any kind of product. There are different scenarios for different products. If a product has a low risk, then again we have a different committee for that. And if any product has greater risk, if any product carries greater risk, then again lots of committees are involved in that sector. We have Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change also, taking care of certain aspects related to environmental conservation. There are committees which are directly linked with the Ministry of Environment and Forest. When it comes to GM foods, we have Food Safety and Standard Authority of India. Again, though not that successful, but still we have this body to take care of the GM foods. Apart from this, when it comes to drugs, when it comes to production of different drugs, we have the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization, which is headed by the Drugs Controller General of India, which is under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So this is responsible for the approval of new drugs. Apart from this, we have, I repeat, we have Ministry of Science and Tech, under which we have Department of Biotechnology. Under Department of Biotechnology, we have BIRAC, Biotechnology Industrial Research Assistance Council. We have different committees dealing with different aspects, dealing with different products. We have certain committees linked with Ministry of Environment and Forest, taking care of the issues related to environmental conservation, related to agriculture. Then we have the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, which is responsible for the approval of new drugs. Apart from this, we have the federal governing structure in our country, again, which which comes into picture when we talk about the policies and regulations. The federal governing structure which we have, it vests regulatory powers in authorities at the state level. So biotech innovators are accountable to multiple levels of authority and compliance regimes. Because biotech products, जब हम biotech products की बात करते हैं, the thing is there are lots of areas such as agriculture, such as environment, and which have both national and local significance. If we talk about agriculture and environment, it has both national as well as the local significance. So regulatory authorities at state level and even district level, they possess vast monitoring and enforcement powers in this area. So the state biotechnology coordination committees of each Indian state rely on other state bodies, such as pollution control boards, health authorities to inspect, investigate, and take punitive action in case of any unsafe biotech activities. If any industry goes for unsafe biotech activities, again, lots of bodies are there, lots of boards are there, which come into action. They monitor research institutions. They monitor companies engaged in genetic manipulation of microorganisms, plants, animals, to examine whether they are following the stipulated regulations or not, whether they are following the stipulated rules or not, conditions or not, whether they have the required approvals or not, whether they have taken approval for clinical trials or not. So again, making it very complex. Then we have district level committees working within their respective jurisdiction, visiting biotech installations, regularly submitting reports to state boards, state drug regulatory bodies, exercising wide-ranging powers. So this is the web of different boards, again, which is again, because of the federal structure we have, because of the different ministries involved. So this is a system we have when it comes to approvals related to different trials, related to different products, related to production in this sector. Now coming to the major obstacles. So major obstacles, if we talk about in this sector, the regulatory bodies need to coordinate effectively. There need to be effective coordination between the different regulatory bodies. They must be aware of the innovations that are happening in the biotech space, so that adjustments can be made. The purpose here is why we need to have an effective coordination, because only then adjustments can be made in a manner which are conducive to both innovation as well as safety. So in the name of safety, we should not suppress the innovation. So it all depends on the awareness that is taking place in the biotech space. If the departments are aware of the developments that are taking place, that have taken place, they can be in a better position. They can have a proper coordination, and with that coordination, they can adjust in a manner. They can bring in adjustments in a manner which are conducive to both innovation as well as safety. But unfortunately, the current Indian regulatory system is not having that maturity. It has lots of divided roles and responsibilities based on diverse applications of biotechnology. Rather than having an integrated approach, rather than having a coordinated approach, rather than having a holistic approach, a well-tailored ecosystem, you can say a proper level playing field, we have a divided role and responsibilities when it comes when we go through the regulatory system we have in the country. So this is a major obstacle to the growth of biotech in our country. The committees we have, different committees we have dealing with different aspects of genetic engineering, they have to give approvals. Their roles, their responsibilities have not been spelled out properly. There is lots of uncertainty. And let me tell you, let me point out here that if we don't have certainty, if we don't have specific rules, if we don't have specific guidelines, it becomes very difficult to it becomes very difficult to operate. The committee, different committees, they have underdeveloped organizational structures. They don't have financial autonomy, poor infrastructure, adequate manpower. And about this, we have a contentious political atmosphere in our country that is often not supportive of the biotech industry. The political actors, civil societies, civil society activists, they have often turned this difficult scenario to their advantage, creating a state of public you can say creating a state of disturbance, creating lots of miscommunication or spreading you can say lots of data related to biotechnology which is again which has no base. Without proper research they come up with their stands, they come up with their observations. And because of this, the authorities which are there, the different authorities which are there, different committees which are there, they are afraid of taking a regulatory initiative because they don't have that support, political support in this sector. I can give you example. BT eggplant. In case of BT eggplant, although we GAC recommended commercial cultivation in 2009, but still things haven't been developed in that regard. So there is no clear path for different products. Same thing is for GM mustard also. A public interest litigation, a PIL case was initiated before the Supreme Court of India by an anti-GM campaigner and it has delayed the approval of GM mustard from the GESE, which has inclined to approve commercial cultivation of this crop. Innovation and growth in India's biotech sphere has also been hampered by the well-intentioned regulatory efforts to shield India's wealth of biodiversity from foreign profiteering. The best example of this is the turmeric, which was misappropriated by the foreign actors. The neem plant, the whole issue related to neem, where we had US and EU. We had to fight for this. and these patents were subsequently revoked, but at considerable cost to the Indian exchequer. We had to pay cost for that. To prevent such situations from recurring, India enacted the National Biodiversity Act, which came into force in 2002 and was meant to govern access to the use of India's bioreserves and make benefit sharing more equitable. So these are the major obstacles which we have been experiencing in the sector. Now coming to how to strengthen the sector. The thing is, we have been talking about, we have talked about lots of positives. We have talked about the scenario, the regulatory scenario we have. We have talked about the application of this sector, application of this, different techniques that are involved, different areas where biotech has become very important, and the risks which are there. And now the thing is, we need to be clear with how to strengthen the sector. Fortunately, there are certain steps which India can take that can enhance this sector prospects for growth and innovation. And again, that is, we need to create a legal and financial ecosystem first of all, because this technology, or forget about biotechnology, when it comes to technology, the very first thing which comes up is the very first thing which has to be promoted is innovation. So basically, it's innovation which gives a big push to other aspects related to that particular field. India needs a proper balance between strategic research, product planning, where to be liberal, where to be rigid, synchronizing with the different stakeholders. We have to enhance, we have to strengthen our regulatory capacity also. Rather than having different regulatory bodies, we need to have less number of regulatory bodies, but with independence and with the proper know-how. And what all authorities we have to ensure that there is a proper coordination among the institutional bodies. Only then we can minimize the gestation period. And let me point out once again that gestation period should be short if we really want to make something commercially viable. In 2005, something very good came up from a task force on related to pharmaceuticals, headed by Mashelkar, R.A. Mashelkar. This task force proposed one possible solution when it recommended the creation of an independent national biotechnology regulatory authority, which would be in a position to offer a single professionally managed mechanism for the various clearances processes across different verticals in the biotech industry. So it talked about this task force which came up in 2005. It talked about this authority. But again, this has not been implemented, and it has now this has been metamorphosed into a proposed biotechnology, a regulatory authority of India. So now the thing is, we are since like this a bill has been initiated to create this authority, Biotechnology Regulatory Authority of India, in 2013, and again that too again much has not been done in this regard also. But again, this is something which is required. There need to be a unity of command. Again, for in proper management, we all are clear with that in any kind of management, in any kind of administration, in governance, there need to be a unity of command. So we should have authority, we should have a national authority in this regard, and again, which would be taking care of every aspect related to biotechnology. And when we will have this, again, it will streamline everything. Apart from this, ideas have to be exchanged. Additional outreach efforts have to be made. Biotech conferences should be held regularly to discuss the advancements that have taken place in this sector. We need to discuss the regulatory hurdles. And here I want to tell you that this is, you can say, this is a very good area to discuss, a very good area to deliberate upon, because this is related to all of us. It is related to our future. We need to have our own understanding regarding this. We need to be clear with the regulatory aspects. We need to be clear with the international aspects, what we have at national level. So this is certain ways wherein we can strengthen this sector. Now coming to something without which nothing is possible. Now we would be shifting our focus towards a particular aspect without which nothing is possible. Why I'm saying so? Because when something has international dimensions, when a particular sector has international dimensions, when something has global significance, without global governance, nothing is possible. So we need to be clear with that what global governance we have and what is a limitation of global governance. And this was in 1970s, let me tell you. Before 1970s, there was nothing in this regard. The issue how to regulate biotechnology, it globally came into fore. It came into discussion in the 70s, and over the years, we have come up with these instruments. Over the years, we have come up with these instruments. And these instruments which you are seeing in the slide, they deal with the distinct set of challenges: protection of genetic resources, biodiversity, regulation of biological weapons, management of international trade in GM products. So they deal with this. Convention on biological diversity, CBD, UNESCO, WTO, BWC, WTO agreement. So this is what we have in global governance. Then we have one more important protocol here, that is Nagoya Protocol. And that was related to, when it comes to global governance, please be clear with this, that always, not only in respect of, in respect to biotechnology, whether you talk about cyberspace, whether you talk about information technology, internet, or whether you talk about automation, whether you talk about biotechnology, or whether you talk about any other international product or aspect, the thing is, there definitely you will find contention between developed countries and developing countries because of their different scenario, because of their different status, because of their different realities. And globally speaking, the balanced position is we need to have equity. We need to have an equitable arrangement. If we don't have equity, if we don't have equitable distribution of resources, the thing is a particular sector is tilted towards one extreme. And most of the times it is pro-developed countries. So here Nagoya Protocol came up. It was a supplementary agreement to the Convention of Biological Diversity, CBD, and which addressed the issue of fair and equitable sharing of benefits from products developed through genetic manipulation. So Nagoya Protocol, it took the interest of developing countries into notice. So this is the global governance we have. And again, here, what you have to keep in mind is, in short, that the way things are developing, the way things are progressing, we are shifting towards bio-colonialism, new kind of colonialism. And again, which is never good for any country. So we need to be clear with this. We need to be clear with this that the way things are developing, the way things are being framed, everything must be based on equity. Then we need to be clear with other aspects also, because the techniques which are there, the advancements that are there, that are under the control of developed countries. So they have to transfer those techniques. They have to transfer their understanding, their whatever the skills they have developed. They must share that with the developing countries. Because if there is any disaster, if there would be any disaster, that will have a global dimensions. The security dimensions of biotechnology also have to be taken into consideration when we talk about global governance, and to some extent it has been taken. Biological weapons, how to deal with disease carrying viruses, advancements in medical research. Then again, ethical issues are also there which have to be taken care by the global governance. Recently, you would have, I can give you example of that creation of a pig embryo injected with a human stem cell, and when the whole thing is that uh, it would be developed and it would be used to grow organs containing human cells. So medical possibilities of this kind of development, especially for life-saving organ transplant procedures, advancing medical research, part human, part animal, it throws up number of fundamental ethical and regulatory questions that cannot be answered by the existing regime which we have. We are going for designer babies. Again, what effect it would have for the future generation, that has to be taken care by the global governance, where much has not been discussed, much has not been deliberated upon. So this is the global governance, and global governance, I just want to share that without proper global governance, again, we can never be in a position to come up with something substantial in this regard. Now coming to the role India can play. And here let me tell you that here you have to keep in mind the potential India has. We are a global biodiversity hotspot. We are potential beneficiary of these technologies. And India must actively engage in shaping governance regimes that account for its interest. So India has to be very particular when it comes to the governance, the global governance related to biotechnology. These interests, the areas where India has to focus upon is protecting indigenous bioresources, related knowledge, equitably sharing technological know-how, preventing these resources from falling into the wrong hands. One thing I want to share here is that initially India's stand, India's emphasis on total nuclear disarmament, complete non-discrimination. For example, it made India marginal to the evolution of the global nuclear technology regimes. Meaning by we were marginal. We became marginal to the developments that were taking place in the field of nuclear technology, and that was because of our initial idealistic emphasis on the total nuclear disarmament. Only when later, when we changed our approach, only when we gradually changed our approach, we became dominant. We became important. So the thing is, here the whole approach has to be changed. Instead of presenting itself as a responsible power, we need to contribute to manage the global order. We need to be a member in technological regimes. We have shown this in recent climate change negotiations, supporting multi-stakeholder approach to internet governance also. Internet, again, like biotechnology, has global dimensions. We have always advocated for a multi-stakeholder approach to internet governance. The same approach has to be taken here also. Only then we can uphold our responsibilities to the international order. Only then we would be in a position to secure economic and political interests. It can improve its domestic regulatory environment, convene a comprehensive domestic dialogue on biotechnology. So we need to take care of this. We have to work at national level, we have to work at international level also. These are the strengths which we have in our country. We have large reservoir of scientific human resource, including scientists and engineers, cost-effective manufacturing capabilities. More than 3,000 biotech startups, large number of national research laboratories, centers of academic excellence in biosciences, biotechnology parks, incubators established across the country, translating research into products and services by providing necessary infrastructure support. Several universities are there which are very active, professional colleges, educational and training institutions. offering degrees, diplomas in biotechnology, bioinformatics, biological sciences, presence of a well-defined, vibrant drug and pharmaceutical industry, rich biodiversity, human gene pools offering an exciting opportunity for genomics, fast developing clinical capabilities with the country becoming a popular destination for clinical trial, low cost technical human capital, advanced commercial biotech sector. We can conceivably become a partner of choice for stakeholders from developed countries and developing countries. Please keep in mind that though IP rights still are a major hurdle, when we talk about intellectual property rights, they are still a major hurdle in this sector. And again, the reason is that these are most major Western biotech companies. They do not consider the Indian IP regime sufficiently protective of their proprietary rights. The Western biotech companies, they do not consider the IP regime we have sufficiently protective of their proprietary rights. And this is the reason why we need to work with international partners. We have to find a way out. We have to foster an environment that encourages India to continuously improve its domestic strength in collaboration with others and use that strength to shape global rules in this sector of this sector. Biopiracy is there another issue that has to be taken care. Undue transfer of genetic resources. We all know basmati rice, turmeric. What happened with turmeric? What happened with basmati rice? And again, it was because of this we came up with the traditional knowledge digital library. So the whole thing is the multilateralism which we have in this sector, the global governance we have in this sector. We need to have a say in that regard. Until and unless we don't have say in the international, in the global governance, again we would not be in a position to 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 take care of our national interest. And let me tell you that this is the area where the future belongs. This has lots of potential. Again, the way we have been going through this pandemic. This sector has huge potential. Production of vaccines. Again, it was a big task. It was a big task, and that was taken care by the sector. So we can very well understand the importance of this sector. So it's high time that we come up with a proper national regulatory authority. It's high time to promote coordination among different committees which are there to provide approvals. It's high time to be proactive in this area. We should play a very proactive role in the global governance we have in this sector. And it's high time to promote innovations so that our share in the global biotechnology sector it goes up. So that's it from my side. If you have any query, if you have any observation, you may come up with that.
Yes, sir.
We have 5 minutes. So if you have any question, you can get. Should we end here? We have I have a class here at 11:30.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. You may conclude the class.